Yeah, we are live. Thanks for that, Prem. Thanks for coming on to the call. Let me just check on Facebook.
Hello, everybody.
Yeah, we are live on Facebook. Okay, then. Thanks, everyone, for this. Happy New Year to everyone. 3rd of January. We planned on starting at 2 o'clock today. This is a bit of a new venture. We're looking to do a weekly call at 2 o'clock every Tuesday. And it's a bit of a taster, really, building up to my main call, which would be 9 o'clock tonight. Okay, so every Tuesday, 2 o'clock. Well, it could be 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock. We haven't decided yet. But it's going to be a bit of a taster. And then we're going to build up to the main call, which is 9 o'clock every Tuesday. Just the subject for the next couple of minutes, hopefully 15, 20 minutes, hopefully no more. These things can drag on. It's going to be BitCoin and mainly decentralization versus centralization. And I've got a top guy on, expert on, who's in the business with me, in this cryptocurrency space with me, Prem. And I'm going to pass you over to Prem. Prem will introduce himself. And then I may fire a few questions at him. And then at the same time, guys, if you want to put any questions in the chat on YouTube, I'm live on YouTube and Facebook. And if you want to put a few questions in chat, we can answer them live as well. So thanks for attending, guys, and over to you, Prem.
Thank you, Adrian. Hello, everybody. Happy New Year to you. And thanks for having me here. Before I proceed any further, I'm not a network marketer by trade, by profession. I came into network marketing because it delivered a solution that I was looking for. I'm actually a wealth manager, and I've taken some of those exams that are necessary in order to give financial advice to people both in Europe-wide, in the UK, as well as in the United States. I worked 15 years in the City of London. So you could say I'm a banker. I'm an ex-banker. But the reason I came into this business is because there are a few things going on and have been going on for a number of years that have a direct impact on everybody. So it doesn't matter what business you're in. The world would have been a few years ago, would have been a period of time that you would have considered a bit of a slack time, low profit time. And that would have been roughly around 2009, 2008 to 2009 when the credit crunch happened and everybody suffered. The property market was slowing down. There weren't people taking out more mortgages because credit was simply not available to do that. So if you're in the property business, you would have seen those effects. If you're in any other retail-oriented business, you depend on people spending money, whether they borrow money on a credit card and spend it, or whether they spend it from their own pocket. You rely on people, on the economy, basically cash flowing freely in the economy. When that engine seizes up, it's called a credit crunch, and it has already happened. So on the back of that, I could see a number of things happening. So, I could continue being a banker and make money for myself. You would never have heard of me, and you would not really care, and good luck to you. But I'm here because I believe I have something that I can share, which, with the help of Adrian, I'm sharing to his audience. You are his audience, clearly. I have my own audience. I help a number of other people as well. And what we do is we bring about a combination of financial understanding and financial literacy that includes now cryptocurrency. You cannot avoid the discussion of cryptocurrency in the online space. You would have to be literally blind as a bat if you think there's something happening and it's all totally irrelevant. Now, you may not fully support it. That is different. But you would certainly be aware of it. If you're watching, you know already cryptocurrency to some degree. There's also precious metals, a completely neglected and overlooked asset class. And most people don't actually, the penny doesn't drop until, it takes a few times of listening to why precious metals and what on earth are these. And I'm not here to sell anything. We want to discuss this openly and frankly and candidly. And I personally welcome any criticism, because there are people always who know a little better, who know a little differently, and that's okay. We don't all have to agree on exactly every single point all the time. So the reason I'm here on this call is because Adrian invited me to host this more regularly. And what we're going to do is basically, me anyway, that's my commitment. This is my assurance to Adrian, that we're going to give value, and we'll do these pre-calls in the daytime, followed up by a main call later on in the evening. And in the evening, tonight, I hope to cover some of the aspects on centralization, decentralization. What does it even mean? How does it impact? Where do I see it going? But also, where does the industry generally think it is going? And all these things will have an impact because, let's be honest with you, there's been a lot of businesses in the online space anyway that have caused a lot of animosity and hurt and a lot of losses, to be honest with you. I was involved personally in one of those that made a lot of losses for a few people. And I completely and utterly regret it. And I plaster about it all over my Facebook wall that I do regret it. I'm not hiding. There are some businesses that are okay, but really difficult to work. And then there are some businesses that are, make sense in every possible way, but still need a bit of effort to build up. And then there are businesses that are just Ponzi schemes, but they're so easy to play with because you just say a few keywords and catchphrases and everybody jumps on the bandwagon. What I'm here for is actually to deliver value on Adrian's channel. And you are clever and intelligent people. You can make your own mind up. What I can assure you is that the solutions that are required in today's environment, there aren't too many of those available when it comes to the financial world. Okay, when it comes to your personal home economics, your personal finances, there isn't a whole plethora of possibilities that people really have. Within that, we have identified some things that will work. Now, they may not be your salvation, they may not be your bridge to Valhalla, but they will certainly put you in a better position than many, many others. And it gives you the opportunity to make a shed load of money if you work and understand the system properly. And this is where the training comes in. It's not just a question of signups, but it's a question of constant and continuous guidance and to keep going with giving value, because value doesn't stop at the moment you bring your credit card this evening and ask Adrian for his link and then sign up and spend your money and the value is over. That doesn't happen, not with me anyway, not under my watch. I'm here to give continual value, which is why we plan to do this on a regular basis. So I hope that is a reasonable introduction, Adrian.
Yeah, that's great, Prem. And we got to be careful. As you said, we are for 2017, I'm fully committed to this cryptocurrency space, mainly Bitcoin. Yes, I am involved in a few other alternative coins, but Bitcoin being the #1 coin, that's going to be a big one for me in 2017. Also in this, more than important, just as important is the precious metals space, as you said, Prem, and that's very underlooked, isn't it? This gold and silver, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it is a major asset class that has been completely overlooked, and you don't even need to use reverse psychology to figure out what's going on. You can just simply look at independent evidence, and the independent evidence is simply this: all major central banks in the world that are cash flow positive, such as the Bank of China, have masses of gold. Why? What are they doing with it? They're sitting on it to cool off their butt cheeks? No, they use it as an alternative in case something goes wrong with either the dollar or the euro or the pound. And if it goes wrong with one of them, it could go wrong with all of them as a chain reaction. And when things start spiraling down, what have you really got to say? Aha, but I have something else. Now, Bitcoin is not centrally adopted as China's main currency. It isn't. Yeah. And for someone to say that their coin will be centrally adopted isn't true either. Okay. When China does something, it's not going to be on the basis of a few bunch of network marketers or MLM people. Okay. When they're going to do something about it, they will do something and then let us know about it. And that's always how the Chinese operate. You need to understand psychology also a little bit. So whilst the cryptocurrency space is a hot potato, developing still, and still relatively speaking in its infancy, it hasn't matured yet. Bitcoin can come down sharply in price also. Yeah, I'm not here to tell you, oh, it's going to be $20,000 next week. No. It moves like any tradable asset. It has its ups and it has its downs, and predicting it would be wild speculation. But the point is, while it's going up, the point is, well, should you have been in it as a net buyer of Bitcoin, or should you now finally consider being a Bitcoin miner and get mining rewards without the hassle of setting up a rig by yourself, unless you have all the spare time, equipment, and stolen free electricity or something? You could do that as well. But the point is, in the midst of everything that is going on economically, there is a very solid, very strong 4,000-year-old argument in favor of precious metals. And you don't have to look at me for this. You just look at the top billionaires in the world. They are buying it. They are acquiring it, and they are aggressive about it, and they're not just ignoring it. They may not ask your permission and tell you specifically that we want some. Can I ask you? They're just going ahead and doing it anyway. Okay, and that includes all of the Middle East, the Arabs specifically. It includes the Central Bank of Russia, the Central Bank of China, and the Central Bank of India, which is the Reserve Bank of India. All of them are net buyers of gold. Why? Why? Because they like the color? Because it's shiny? Or because there is some wisdom coming into play that has been overlooked in a mainly borrowing-based, debt-laden, increasingly chaotic West? And the answer speaks for itself. I don't need to convince you. You just have to read the right headlines. Even if you read between the lines, you can pick up a lot of information. And I believe, yes, Adrian is right, and he's made a good choice in being on this side of the business. And the business we represent, which I'll cover later on in the evening anyway, if you were to imagine the very top class supplier of something, a Rolls-Royce type of a badge that anybody would be proud to own, consider that for metals, and consider something like a Bentley type of a badge when it comes to Bitcoin mining. You got a Rolls-Royce and a Bentley, both on the same platform at an affordable, consumer-oriented, regular, saver-oriented platform, and that's what we offer, which is why we're here. So back to you, Adrian.
Yeah, that's great. So yeah, as Prem was saying there, this is going to be my #1 attention for 2017, putting all my time into this. Yes, I'm involved in a few other income streams, but you have to sort of put yourself to one brand, and move forward in that. Got a lot of things come and go, Prem. And the sad thing is, Prem, the space we are in, cryptocurrency mainly over precious metals, there's a lot of scams and money games out there in this space we're in right now. And I'd probably go as far to say that 97%, if not even more, of these cryptocurrency programs or businesses, whatever you want to call them, are money games, isn't they? So we've got to be very careful what we get involved with.
Yes, guys, I'm home, so my little son might come on the screen as well. Yeah, true. You see, even in the regular MLM space, when it came to things like rev shares and pass-up opportunities and digital product sales with fat commissions attached and all that, that could still be sort of that could come under heavy pressure from regulators because they could take some action to prevent what appears to them like a Ponzi scheme. To the promoters, it seems like a very good opportunity because they're making money, right? But to the regulators, it may seem like, oh no, this looks a little funny because lots of people can lose money, and you know the familiar names, Banners Broker, Zeek Rewards. These are the kind of companies where people have actually lost money, and they leave a bit of a nasty taste in your mouth, unfortunately. But those can be shut down. Cryptocurrency is something where nobody can regulate yet properly. So one piece of news coming out of Colombia, the Latin American country Colombia, is that they're looking to ban Bitcoin altogether. They might be shooting themselves in the foot a little bit, but the reason they're doing that is because they see a lot of people complaining about being trapped into these cheap little pay 0.003 Bitcoin and you will make 45 Bitcoin by next Friday or whatever. There's a lot of these opportunities coming that have no substance. Bitcoin mining costs money. Bitcoin itself has a value at this point in time. If you saw Adrian's Bitcoin wallet, he could probably go out to Cardiff Bay and buy a beachside flat with the amount of money that he's got in Bitcoin alone. Okay, so Bitcoin has value. It is something real, even though digital, intangible, but it is something real in terms of a currency. And you can not tell people, if let's say I wanted to sell my second-hand car to you, and you came to me and said, okay, I'll pay you 50% in cash in hand, and the other 50 I'll transfer by Bitcoin. Is that okay? I probably would accept it. I most definitely would accept it. I would like those Bitcoins, to be honest with you, more than the cash. But I'm willing to exchange that with you. So who is to say to a government, even if it's the government of Colombia, that people should not do this anymore? But the reason you see they're clamping down is because of these scams and these Ponzi schemes. Yeah. And there's been a few where people are so loyal to them because they have purchased the idea. They have bought into something. They've bought into a dream. And unless that dream begins to be shattered by the reality of it being a Ponzi scheme, people don't back off. People don't shy away. They will continue promoting it. They will use all the tools in their arsenal. They will use all the might of their words and their arguments, and they will pluck up articles to put down one just to make theirs look better. They'll pluck up all kinds of resources to make one look better than the other. This is where I would invite you to have an objective look at it. Let's keep everything on an even keel. Bitcoin is not perfect, far from perfect, okay? There are issues with Bitcoin. Nobody's denying that. Is that going to stop a billion Chinese people from getting more of it? And is Colombia going to make a difference to that? I don't know. Do you think so? It's your choice. But the reality is that if you see a trend going somewhere, in the financial world, we used to say trend is friend. And sometimes you act against your gut instincts and you still go with something because it is trending higher. And if it is trending higher, there may still be some profit to be made. That's a very speculative way of looking at it. But if you look at it from a long-term objective way, there's far too much money, far too many hundreds of millions of dollars that have already gone into the development of the apps and the infrastructure to make Bitcoins in the first place. And there's still millions of Bitcoins remaining to be mined. And therefore, the value is going to be here. Whether it is going to be 10 times what it is now, or whether it's going to come crashing down by 30, 40% in the next month, doesn't really matter, as long as Bitcoin remains a profitable coin to mine and a very valid form of payment. And the blockchain is what the blockchain does, which is what it is doing. No coin can come along and force itself upon the cryptocurrency world and say, haha, we are the new kids on the block, you got to be with us. It's fanciful thinking. It's a very nice dream. It's a Cinderella story. But that's fairy tale. We will discuss these issues of centralized and decentralized, regulated and unregulated, and what is generally happening in terms of development in this space. We'd like to cover that in the call later on tonight, if that's okay with you, Adrian.
Yeah, that's great. Just got a few questions coming in. Prem, I'm starting to have a lot of followers now from the likes of Algeria and Nigeria, okay? So lots of people starting to follow me on Facebook. They're coming onto my list. My list has grown by about 100 people every day, and on my Get Response account, and the majority of those people are from Africa, mainly Nigeria, for whatever reason. And what I'm finding is I'm in a lot of these WhatsApp groups and Facebook groups, and there's a lot of people in this country. They want to get out, they want to find a different way of living, and they are struggling to make money online. I think they got to a point where they don't trust anyone. And there's one guy posting now in the group here saying, how can he trust me and you to start with? How can he really trust the program or business we're involved with? Which is a fair question, because most of the stuff I see, all these Nigerians into scams anyway. And it's not their fault, they don't know. It's just the lack of education.
Yeah, I'd love to answer that. First of all, there is a very simple methodology necessary before you get into anything at all. Before you spend your money, do research, okay? And when you do research, it's not that you're fishing for negative articles or you're looking to see who is talking positively about something. You're looking for fundamentals, and the fundamentals are this: how long has a company been established? When you take the website and stick it into a portal like who.is, WHO, who.is, and find out who the owner is of that website, does that owner show his name, or are they trying to hide behind something? Are they registered way out there in Panama or something? Or are they actually registered where they claim to be registered? Okay. Then go to the website, see the faces. Do the people involved show their profiles? Do they show their professional credentials? Are they there? Yes or no? Then find out what kind of company is this. If that company has a registration number in its jurisdiction, go to the company's registrar and do a bit of this is basic due diligence, which I believe a lot of people in Africa, even Asia, fail to do. And I'll be very honest with you, at least in Asia, at least in parts of Asia that I am aware of, they would rather go with a scam than with a solid company, because it makes fast money. Yeah, it makes they're just looking at the compensation plan. They don't care if it has a genuine mining rig or not. They don't care if that picture is photoshopped and pretends to be something that it isn't. They just want to make money, and they want to post really quickly how many thousands of dollars they've made over a few weeks, even for a few fortnights. And when they've been able to do that, more people follow, because it's a numbers game. Nigeria is what, 200 and something million people, and out of those, at least half would be looking to make more money than they already have right now, right?
Yeah.
On the other hand, just go back a little bit. A country like Nigeria, even Algeria for that matter, Algeria in context to France and Nigeria in context to both the United Kingdom and the USA, there's a massive expat Nigerian community. Many of them are professionals. Some of my friends are medical professionals from Nigeria. And these are people who need a solution to send money when they send money back home. You see, first of all, they have to send money and pay a fee to the UK bank in pound sterling. And by the time the money gets to the Nigerian bank, it converts into Naira, and they have to suffer an FX rate. And then what their brother or family or whoever gets in the local market is much less than what was sent in the first place. And if they do it over and over again, it becomes a very expensive proposition over a year. People like that are now laughing because of Bitcoin. Now, I know Nigerians, and there are a lot of sophisticated Nigerians. Listen, I know enough. I do know what I'm talking about. I know the Yoruba, the Igbo, and the Hausa populations. I know how they think. I know the north-south divide. I know where Lagos is and how Abuja is grown in its property portfolio. I know all these things, okay? And what I can assure you is this. Nigerians, the sophisticated, high-income Nigerians in outside of Nigeria, but also your bureaucratic setup. Remember, your local governors and your council members and all those bureaucrats that govern Nigeria have a bigger salary package than many of the civil servants in the United Kingdom because of the oil revenues of Nigeria. So you already have lots of people, lots of your chiefs have a lot of money already. They love investing in foreign banks and foreign assets anyway. Nothing you can do about that. Here we have a platform that actually works perfectly for them. It is legit. It is rock solid. It does not depend on Prem or Adrian's personal credibility. It depends on the fact that the company itself has its own integrity. Whether I'm here today or tomorrow or not, whether Adrian is here today or tomorrow or not, you, once you're a member of it, once you're a part of it, you become an independent distributor of a rock-solid business that does both precious metals and cryptocurrency all on the same platform. Having said that, all these expat Nigerians are looking for a solution. Bitcoin offers that solution, a very cheap way of transferring brother to brother, regardless of where in the world you are, provided both brothers are able to connect their Bitcoin wallets to their local accounts in whatever country they may be, in order to actually take the benefit of drawing down that money in the local currency and then spending it or using it for whatever expenses. So, we offer solutions, guys. And it's not my solution. I'm not no genius to have come up with all this. This is what the company does. We break it down into bite-sized pieces in terms of understanding how the compensation works, how the structure works. You want to understand how the London Bullion Market Association's Ring of Integrity works? I can explain that to you because I have, been part of it. I can explain to you how the delivery works, how every aspect of the business works, if you're willing to learn. But the thing is, if you don't trust this business, and then you go and sign up some cheap Ponzi scheme, we have no discussion. There's just no talking, because that's what most people end up doing. They end up joining some Ponzi scheme that has nothing behind it. Absolutely. Koinomia is one of those. Indian company. Yeah, they claim to have mining rigs. They went to China, took pictures of some Chinese mining rig and pretended it's their own. I even know the guy who's running that Ponzi scheme. Okay, people are joining it left, right, and center. And I'm not here to be a scam buster or rain on somebody else's parade. But the reality is that part of the due diligence is your responsibility over and above everything we tell you. And even everything we tell you, you should be able to freely confirm, verify, and research in the open market. And it is okay to challenge people like me. It is okay. Because, if I stand on integrity, I should be able to give a good defense of what I believe.
The sad thing is, though, the company you mentioned then, there's hundreds of thousands of people joining it, isn't it? It's crazy, isn't it? Hundreds of thousands.
Yes, I've recently seen a few very powerful leaders from Eastern Europe join in because, it's all about a sales pitch, Adrian, and that's the sad part. And this is one of the reasons why governments of Colombia and those kind of, places, they start reacting because governments don't have the time, resources, or energy to track every single company that's out there. There's just simply not enough policemen to police a simple street in London. So how would you put together the manpower and the resources necessary to actually control this whole crowd of people where just about anybody can wake up, buy a script from some cheap vendor in India, put together a website, and pretend to have payouts? You only need a bit of seed capital to pay out the first few people who start saying, oh, look, I've got withdrawal. And then they start drumming up interest on the basis of that withdrawal. In the whole time, when hundreds of thousands of people pay money into the system, there's a nice little pot gathering there. And then you start hearing things like, oh, there's a payment processor delay, your documents need verifying, you need to re-upload this, your account is temporarily suspended. You hear these excuses. Before you know it, the owner has taken that money and run away. And it is even worse with cryptocurrency because there is no way to charge back. So you have to be careful. Yeah. But when you...
A lot of these programs have quite recently gone with payment process excuses, isn't it? There are all kinds of stories being made up. Oh, we've been hacked. The account's been hacked. The money's gone. The payment processor is shut down for whatever reason. It's crazy.
Correct. Yeah. And what can you do? So this is why it's a shared responsibility. I mean, when I joined the company, I did the responsible thing of doing the research myself. I actually spent about 4 hours in total with the CEO on Skype, staring him at his face as he explained everything to me, because I told him, look, I do have a team. I am a marketer. I will be growing this business, but I have questions that need answering, and I need you to help me answer those. And when he shows me, okay, Prem, here, look, here's the link. You can go to the Register of Swiss Companies, and there you see the company listed. It used to have a slightly different name way back in 2008. Then you see that the company has maintained itself for 8 years. And, everything that says new launch, be very, very careful. Everything that says successfully paying since 8 months, be even more careful. Why? Because 8 months is not a track record. If it's a properly constituted company, it would have every 12 months, it would have been required to file returns to the company's registrar. So if a company's been around for 3 years and it's UK based, I can believe that company. If a company says it's launched last month and it's UK based, means nothing. You think UK companies can't be a scam? Of course they can.
It doesn't mean anything, even if it's a UK limited company registered in Cardiff, where I live, at Companies House. That doesn't make any difference again, because anyone can set up a scam as a limited company, can't they?
Correct, and I have evidence. I have evidence of recent scams that are companies that are just out of thin air. There's no evidence of any mining facility or any rigs or anything. I'll give you a simple example. Ether miners, those who get in now early are able to make fantastic money out of Ether miners if you're able to withdraw that money out. But eventually, somewhere or down the line, they're going to get stuck because there is no evidence that the rig actually exists. Yeah, so this is where you take a chance. I mean, you want to be part of a very aggressive payout, you have to ask yourself, where are they getting that money from? In our case, it's very simple. The payout is just right when it comes to cloud mining, just right per day according to the terahash power in your back office.
Yeah, we know what we're getting paid every day, don't we?
Correct. If anybody's willing to pay you more than that, you have to ask yourself, where's the more coming from? Because if the more is coming from other people, then yes, it is other people's money.
Yeah? These Bitcoin miners, the machinery and the technology can only produce so much Bitcoin per day. You can't produce any more.
Correct.
So all these sort of schemes out there which are saying join now with 0.01 of a Bitcoin, or put $100 in now and it's going to return $120, $150 over the next 60, 90, 180 days. It's physically impossible, isn't it?
Correct. And I can understand why these opportunities are so interesting, because it seems like you don't need much money. It's a one-time investment, and just go in there and have a go. Take your chances. Anybody that has been burnt by any of these in the past will tell you those chances were probably not worth it, because the same people who signed up with you, who grew up in a team with you, will not be coming back to you. So for that, you have to be some kind of a behind-the-scenes operator to go and keep finding new groups of people, new people all the time who will buy, and you're never going to see them. If that is the case, if that's how you want to do business, then that isn't really a business. It's just running a scheme. And this is why a Ponzi is always called a Ponzi scheme, not a Ponzi business, right? On the other hand, if you want a rock-solid business, it must have value, and it also must have legitimate products and services supplied by proper companies that would supply those products and services regardless of MLM, regardless of your affiliateship. If you didn't exist in the company should still be able to carry on doing business with people who have nothing to do with MLM. That is when you know this is a proper distribution company. All right?
Right. Got some more questions coming in. Just Prem, I'm just looking on my iPhone here. Obviously, got one guy asking, don't really want to go down this road, but what about OneCoin? Is it going to work? If you want to answer that one. What about OneCoin? Is it going to work? It's a question from David Hassan.
Okay, look, guys. If it works, it'll be a miracle, and it'll be huge. If it doesn't work, frankly, who cares? Because those who made a lot of money, there's a 23-year-old Pakistani, chap in London driving around in a Ferrari on the back of OneCoin. He's already made his money. And that's all he cares about. Yeah. So there's people who've already made a shed load of money with it, and they're happy with that, and that's all they care about. And whether it works or not doesn't really matter. Not to them. They've made their money, right? So now they can move on to something else that is similar to it. Okay? Who cares? If you are heavily invested in it, and if your money is stuck in it, ask yourself this: why is it that you can't really fully cash out and exit? And at some point, when a coin like that, if it does get listed, everybody's going to want to sell. You're going to need to find another buyer. If you don't have another buyer, if you don't have an equal proportion of buyers as you have sellers, market economics, I don't have to explain to you what happens to the price,
Yeah.
And if somebody says, okay, now it is being accepted in some, some corner of godforsakenistan, good luck. It has to be accepted by a proper, legitimate online company. Is Amazon accepting it? Is Walmart accepting it? Is Starbucks accepting it? Can you buy a McDonald's meal with it? Can you load it onto Zappo or OneCoino or some card like that? If not, then you have to ask yourself, what are you dealing with? Why would you spend time and effort promoting something on the hype of commissions alone? On the other hand, good luck to all those who've made a lot of money with it. You can drive around Ferraris with it on the back of other people's blood. Good luck.
Yeah, and
What to say?
with regards to oh, I got Steve Lawson. Just was sorry, Steve, I didn't see your message earlier. How are you doing, Steve? Steve's asking, when does the Bitcoin mining start? I'm not sure what he means by that, but the Bitcoin mine has already started within Swiss Gold. It has done for the last 4 months, isn't it? 3-4 months we've been mining.
1st of November, it started officially. Actually, we could buy the mining contracts already. And Steve, thanks for asking that question. The mining has been going on, obviously, since 2009, but it has now, since about 2012, it got into a territory where it became increasingly unsustainable for the private individual to mine. Therefore, you started getting pools of mining. And those pools of mining are now getting to be more expensive to maintain, simply because of obviously the overhead cost, not just the electricity and everything else, but the fact that every time there's a new sophisticated graphic card that comes out, you know, it becomes, you feel like you wish you had more mining power. So as regards Bitcoin mining, it has got another 6 million coins to mine, and then it'll be over. There's 20-something years left for that to happen. The difficulty rate will keep increasing. It will not become viable and profitable for the private individual to mine it unless you have an unlimited supply of electricity as well as cooling possibilities for that same heat generated. And you know, Steve, I appreciate what you're doing. I'm not going to discuss two different business models right here, but to think about it, you know, if you had to think of something in the future that is going to give you an income on the basis of just generating cash flow for you from an actual mining rig, where the mining is done by a company on your behalf, but no one company, country, or nation or block of nations actually controls it, then that kind of a system requires an involvement in Bitcoin mining. And at the moment, less than $2,000 worth of Bitcoin mining terahash can give you more than $2,000 worth of return per year. And if that just stayed profitable for just 3 years, you've trebled your money, haven't you? But at the same time, the reward is not just dollars, but the reward is actually Bitcoin in fractions. So let's say you get $1 worth of Bitcoin in mining today, just $1 per day in Bitcoin mining today. That $1 is represented in fractional Bitcoin, a few Satoshis, okay? Those Satoshis, if they're individually worth $100 in a few months' time or in a few years' time, then that $1 today is worth several $1,000s forward, fast forward from now. And this is why I'm so passionate about this particular rig, because I know, you know, Steve, we'll arrange a call if you're interested with the CEO and with the necessary people from Genesis Mining who can tell you what they believe of and what they know of the cryptocurrency world. You can't be sitting on $100 million company and ignore everything else that's going on. They know what they're talking about for a simple reason. And they admit they're not the geniuses that came up with Bitcoin in the first place, but they figured out this is the one where you want to be. And they can launch any crypto coin at any given time in under 3 minutes. Yeah. That's their capacity. They have the rig ready. You just tell them, what kind of coin do you want? What kind of functionality do you want? What kind of payment system do you want surrounded by it? Just tell them that, 3 minutes on a laptop, pop, 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 boom. They'll generate the whole coin straight away. But they're not doing it because they believe that it is very difficult to capture the attention of the wider $16 billion market cap of Bitcoin with a brand new launch. And this is why they believe this is going to be in the future. And China alone is driving a lot of the demand. You know, India is waking up, and India hasn't fully yet caught on to it. Only 2.9% or something of Bitcoins are allocated towards India from the mining pool. But you know, China has a domination on it, and they're not going to give up on this. They're not going to let this go down. Not after putting in several $100 million worth of equipment money into it. So therefore, you know, this is a good time to get into mining. Mining is available right now in your back office. There's a tab called crypto. Just click the crypto, provided your KYC is approved, of course. Once you click the crypto, just stick in your Bitcoin address, whatever you want it, Zappo, Coinbase wallet, or whatever. Stick it in there. Use the sliding scale to see how much terahash you want. The maximum right now is 15 per day. You can go buy it tomorrow, come back and buy 15 more if you want, but that gets you started, and that's when the penny will drop, because the daily income can be compounded, right? Plus the referral income adds to your mining capacity. Plus the mining capacity you already have has a multifunctional ability. You can very conveniently, very soon anyway, that platform is still being worked on, but you can conveniently swap it into any other asset. And that flexibility is why we have this particular advantage at the moment.
And the great thing is, Prem, what I love about this this opportunity as well is you can start the Bitcoin mining contract for as little as $30 as a one-time payment, no recruitment, no monthly fees. If you wanted to take it to the extreme, yes, you're not going to make a fortune, but you can get in for as little as $30 as a one-time. Is that right? And that will mine up until 2040, as long as we still stay profitable, as long as the Bitcoin mining stays profitable. That's an ongoing revenue for the next 23 years. Is that right?
Yes. So, well, you have to ask yourself, when there are predictions coming out of Bitcoin being worth whatever, fancy large numbers. I'm not going to say any numbers. When people make those kind of predictions, what are they making those predictions on the basis of? I mean, are they just a bunch of idiots that are dreaming up something, or are these professionals that are working out on some kind of algorithmic equations? And the projections are where they are for a very, very simple reason. There will only ever be 21 million Bitcoins. Those will then, and each Bitcoin has a fixed number of Satoshis. And those Satoshis aren't like just 100 cents or something. There's a few thousand Satoshis within each Bitcoin. And the Satoshi itself can have assumed the value of each Bitcoin, which Bitcoin has today, number one. Number two, the mining, yes, it starts at only $30. Obviously, you're not going to be, you can't possibly find a system where you can put in $30 and day after tomorrow you're a millionaire. It's not going to happen. It is a part of a production process which takes time and effort. It is a fractional representation of the capital investment required in order to set up a rig. So if you had an orange grove, I'm talking to the Nigerians, you can grow lovely oranges in Nigeria, especially Kino oranges. If you grow oranges and you don't have the money to buy a whole orange orchard, you can buy one branch, one tiny branch, which means whatever number of oranges that come up there, they're yours, right? And this is how you grow your capacity gradually over a period of time. But what we offer is a bonus to you if you are able to grow the business, develop the business by introducing new people as savers. You're not introducing new people to just give you money and pass it up in a commission system. You're introducing people to save for themselves at their own capacity. So if their capacity is to save thousands, good luck, well done. If their capacity is to save just a little bit, $30 every now and then that is also fine. Find more of them. Yeah. But this is a genuine business model because the rate of payment is actually very low. You cannot get more Bitcoin than Bitcoin is produced using the terahash capacity. It is not possible. I'm talking about a company called Coinspace based in Malta that has a compensation plan that pays very high, but then cuts off in 3 years, 4 years, 6 years, whatever. It cuts off. Why does it cut off? Why isn't it ongoing? Why do they want to restrict your future earning potential at some limited point? Which is why this company offers a lifetime contract. Even $30, provided Bitcoin remains profitable, even your $30 will be $30 producing Bitcoin for you over and over for the duration of Bitcoin mining.
And when you say Bitcoin remaining profitable, you're talking of the Bitcoin price not actually dropping below, I think, $600, or is it $500? I think it's $600. Is that right?
Okay, actually, it's that's a reversed way of looking at it. The reality is this: the mining company charges a fee per gigahash, and the fee right now is set at 0.0003 Bitcoins per gigahash. So if the value of Bitcoin drops, and it costs 0.0003 Bitcoin, if that's what it costs to produce, then obviously there's no profitability there. If it produces a little more than that, then they keep 0.0003 anyway, because that pays for the infrastructure, that pays for the whole setup, the office. You know, the company is in negotiation with the German government. They are applying for a money manager's license. This is basically turning Genesis Mining practically into a bank. Yeah, and I'm telling you this now. I don't know if they'd be happy with me if, for me to share all this information, but they're effectively going to be able to issue cards of their own, help you, and they will be driving business back into us, because they'll now be able to say, by the way, if you wanted gold and silver, we have these partners. You know, our little buddy here is able to do that for you. But you know, they're applying for a proper money manager's license. They're money maker. They're literally like a kind of a private central bank of a decentralized currency. So when so much is going into this, they have something worked out, and that something that's worked out is they have a limited cost which they must take before the contract goes south or gets cancelled. If they are the ones affected by it, so is everybody else. And the contract says they may terminate the contract. Actually, they may revive it at some point if they so choose. We don't know how they will react at that point in time. But right now, the fact is that you know, when I entered the contracts, Bitcoin was at about a $750 something, $740, and the profitability was around $520. Guess what? The profitability remained, the threshold remained at $520, and now Bitcoin is at $1,000. So now Bitcoin would have to drop 50% for me to be knocked out. Before, it would only have to drop $200 for me to get knocked out. So the more the Bitcoin goes higher in price, the lower is the risk of these contracts being cancelled. The contracts are lifetime contracts, and they are worded like that for a reason. They are there for the lifetime, as in as long as it keeps producing, it's yours. You get your share, you pay your 0.003 in profitability, and of course the company makes a profit out of that as well. Some people have a problem with that, but then you know what? When it comes to genuine Bitcoin mining, you will struggle to find a company better organized and more professional than these guys. And these guys are geniuses. They know what they're doing.
Oh, I absolutely agree with that, definitely. Steve Lawson just said he's purchasing his contract now. Message stating, you know, just to discuss, don't jump in. I'm not sure what he's, I think he's on the affiliate plan right now. I'm not sure if he's paying his monthly right now, but his monthly ordership. But I wanted to make sure he's buying the right, you know, the mining packages as well, because you can start with $30. You can buy in $30 increments. Is that right? 30, 60, 90, 120, all the way up to as much as you want.
Yeah, excuse me. So the sliding scale tells you from 30 minimum all the way to $1,950, anywhere in between.
Which is 15 terahash. Which is 15 terahash.
15 terahash, yeah. My personal target is, aside from the terahash that I buy, I want to collect at least 100 terahash in bonuses alone. Okay, and for that, I need to get a whole bunch of my neighbors involved, because when I bring them as platinum customers, platinum savers, they don't need to refer. There's zero referring required. That's why I'm so comfortable going to them and saying, would you like to dabble with Bitcoin? When I bring a whole bunch of $5,000 package platinum members, I get 3 terahash per person. Okay, I only need 33 of those to make my 100 target, and it's a very low target. But remember, this is my clear target, offline, nothing to do with online marketing. That's how I'm approaching it. You want as much terahash mining power as possible, because it is money better spent than, frankly, Steve, I saw your post about the Porsche Macan. Beautiful car, mate, but ultimately, logically, it's a depreciating asset eventually, yeah? What you pay for it today, lovely drive, get the one with the red leather seats. I recommend it, looks beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm not ruining that experience for you. But what I am saying is that, you know, it's a depreciating asset. It's not going to make you any money going forward. If you were to, it is a Volkswagen Tiguan, slightly tarted up, to be honest. So if you were to, with a better engine, no doubt, Porsche is definitely better engineering, much higher quality. But the reality is that if it's a depreciating asset, instead, if you had a good allocation in terahash mining and you could see the daily returns, and then you could build up the referral rewards, it's a no-brainer, because you're buying an orchard, a larger share in an orchard that is going to keep yielding fruit over and over, provided some virus doesn't kill it off or some neighbor doesn't set fire to it or something like that. It'll keep yielding fruit over and over, year after year, season after season. And whilst it is doing that, the value of your fruit is likely to keep going up. And that is our advantage.
I'm actually selling houses to put into Bitcoin mining. So obviously, sounds a bit strange, but I got enough houses where I can sell a small amount. I'm selling 33% of my houses, a third of my stock in property, and diversifying that into Bitcoin mining, and obviously gold and silver as well. So my friends and colleagues in the property space think I'm crazy, but everyone's got their own way on things. The guys in the property space, they're 100% property. They don't look at anything else. They make all their money in property. So I don't think I've been in the property space for 20 years, and I bought the T-shirt, So I'm more sort of, I want to diversify. I want to be more creative with my money. So I'm selling my properties, and I'm banging tens and tens of thousands into Bitcoin mining, because a key point here, Prem, is when it comes to the exit strategy. I've got millions of pounds in property. I had 38 properties at one point. But if I ever want to liquidate my property, I have to sell a whole property. I'd rather have millions of dollars in Bitcoin. If I want to sell $10,000 of Bitcoin today, I am going to sell my whole house to liquidate $10,000. You agree? I can sell small fractions of my Bitcoin. With my properties, I have to sell the whole property, pay all the fees, and all that comes with it.
Correct, Adrian. And if I was to give you guys an example, if you're in the United States, for example, on average, if you wanted to make $10,000 net $10,000 after all costs, expenses, and everything else spared, literally $10,000 in your pocket per month, that's $120,000 per year, you would need a property portfolio worth $2 million to get you that yield. Okay? Let's focus, guys. You need $2 million worth of property to make $10,000 per month. That is your rental yield after paying all the costs and expenses and everything. And Adrian can probably give you better figures for the United Kingdom, but this is what I have in dollars. Now, if you have $120,000 worth of Bitcoin mining, not 2 million, $120,000 worth of Bitcoin mining at current levels, and the levels can change. I don't know. I'm not some, a seer or, a sage or some prophet. I don't know. But at current levels, $120,000 worth of mining will give you $120,000 of Bitcoin for a year, every year, year after year. And look at the proportion between $2 million stuck in property and $120,000 at the same time. Look at the difference between the two. So the yield, the actual absolute return you get on Bitcoin is not to be trifled with. And I say this with all due respect. I do believe I have the capacity to take on another business model and work on that business model as well. If it's cryptocurrency, I could develop something like that as well. But I'm not doing it because I need to focus on this, because this is where I can see numbers. And I'm a numbers guy, and I'm not talking, I don't want to be promoting something that may or may not be here on the basis of my thinking. I want to promote something on the basis of a large consensus of very successful, very wealthy people with hundreds of millions of dollars gone in investment. If they're putting their faith in this, then there must be something to it. And that is our strength.
Right. Thanks for that, Prem. I got lots of questions banking up here. Steve Lawson is saying he's just paid $120 and he's going to test the system the next couple of days, test the mining with $120. So that's great, Steve. He's also saying that he's not happy what you said about the car. He said he's getting on a bit now, and you're depriving him of his dream car.
Sorry, Steve, that was never the intention. No, I mean, you should enjoy it. It's a toy. It is your personal toy. But I just wanted to tell you about the economics of it. You can drive it for a year or something. It won't depreciate too much. And then, switch to another one, another comfortable one. I personally would like one. But when I do the numbers, I'm a numbers guy. And there's a reason why Warren Buffett had one old banger for 27 years. You can Google this fact. When he was making his billion after billion after billion in massive deals, he never sold his old trusty Cadillac or whatever it was. But the point is, he had a 27-year-old car, because somebody asked him, well, why don't you? He says, look, I haven't yet extracted all of the value that I put into it when I purchased it in the first place. And along the way come the maintenance costs and everything else. So that's the logic. I'm not killing your joy, Steve. Enjoy it. You deserve it more than I do anyway right now. So, go ahead and have it. Don't let me stop you. But there is a logic there, right? And you have to acknowledge that what I'm saying makes sense. It disturbs the comfort zone a little bit, but it kind of economically, numbers-wise, it makes sense, because this is the same advice approach I used to take with multimillionaires. When some client would turn up and say, I want to buy a 60-foot yacht, I would tell them you'll only have 2 happy days in your life, the day you buy it and the day you sell it, because in between is a shed load of expenses. You have to pay your charges for just letting it float in a harbor somewhere. You have to employ staff. It costs and drains, and you don't actually enjoy those parties as much as you enjoy on somebody else's boat. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. The boat is certainly not on my fridge as a toy to ours. Definitely, the boat doesn't do nothing for me. But back to what Steve Lawson was saying, and I got to be honest with you, there's a way around this. Anyway, anyone can have any car what they want. Yeah, it depreciates in value. If you want to drive off in, say, a nice car, 100,000, an average price of 100,000, no one in their right mind, well, I certainly wouldn't, and a lot of people probably don't know this, why pay $100,000 cash for a car and drive away in it and take the hit straight away? You could probably buy one with 5,000 miles on the clock and take a couple of grand hit anyway on the depreciation. But even better, I take out a lease option. I would never purchase cash on a car. On a 100 grand car, you could probably get one of those for, I don't know, 10 grand down and so much a month, even a grand a month. So why put all your money in eggs in one basket and pay off cash when you can keep that 100 grand into a Bitcoin mining package in some gold and silver, 10 grand down, a grand a month, and get your money working for you in other things, and you can still drive the same dream car. Do you know what I mean?
Correct. Yes, I agree with that, Adrian. Also, I wasn't saying that you would pay for a car completely with your own money.
Yeah.
Always some kind of a contract where you effectively lease it. And the more expensive the car, the fatter the monthly lease. But that lease itself is where you ask yourself a question: what is the value for money you're getting? And how much is your pleasure worth? But that's a personal choice. I'm not going to intrude on that area. But on the other hand, $120 worth of terahash power that you've purchased, or gigahash that you've purchased, Steve, should give you at current rates just under maybe 30 cents of Bitcoin per day. Now you're going to be like, I will just put in $100.
Yeah, you're right. It's about 32 cents. 30. Yeah, say 30 cents. Yeah. So, and the other thing, Prem, people think, well, that's not going to get me rich. People think, well, okay, I'll put $120 in today to start, and then they start comparing it then with another program which is paying out so much percentage a day, and then they think, well, what's the point of paying $120 today if I'm only getting 32 cents a day or 30 cents a day, as you said? I may as well stick my money in a Ponzi scheme and get more money and hope it's going to last. But the bigger picture is you can compound this $120, can't you? You can compound it, and then every time you reach $30, you buy another package and keep compounding.
It's like saying, why bother going through the whole process of getting married when you can just borrow your neighbor's wife, right?
Yeah.
So if you're going to build a business, you need to incrementally accumulate something that either represents assets or represents something that creates assets for you. And it has to start at some point. So if it looks like nothing much is being returned, that's obviously because, what do you expect for $120? But 3 years down the line, if your contract is still happy and hale and hearty, you'll be looking back and saying, wow, I only put in $120 and look what I got back out of it. $300 and something dollars worth, or $360 worth of Bitcoin at today's price But going forward 3 years down the line, that $360 worth of Bitcoin might be some, miracle amount. Who knows, So the point is that if you can put money in programs, but they're only programs, or you can build a business. You have to make a choice. Okay.
Yeah, sure. Let me just get a call. Got people calling me now. Just 2 seconds. Let me end this call. Yeah. So on the other thing is, Prem, I'm seeing, it's quite sad. I'm seeing lots of people out there, whether they're vulnerable people, but they stick in thousands and even 10,000s, even 20,000 plus into one particular opportunity without even thinking about it and without even thinking about spreading their risk. Now, personally, I don't think I'm a big fan of spreading my risk. And, I'm even spreading my risk from the likes of Bitcoin, gold, and silver. I got property, I got other things as well. But a lot of people, they just bang their money in, don't they? 5, 10, 20 grand into one particular opportunity. That's very high risk. Anything could go wrong, couldn't it? They could lose that overnight. Look what happened to all the ones that have been shut down over the last 6, 12, 18 months.
Yes, correct. I met somebody who had over $50,000 worth in a rev share, and that rev share is kind of suspended right now, is frozen and waiting some decisions. And it happens like that. People see. I know somebody who put $30,000 in a gold mining company that was a HYIP scam to begin with in the first place. So these things do happen. But if you have it's very difficult. It needs discipline to, millionaires need discipline in how to invest their money, which is why they have to hand it over most of the time to somebody else to run the portfolio. Unless you're a trader and you want to speculate and you're in and out of the market all the time and you think you know what you're doing, that's great. If you don't have the expertise, ask around. Don't just put all eggs in one basket. If you have, say, $20,000 to spare, it is definitely worth splitting it up over 3, 4, maybe 5 opportunities.
Yeah,
and testing them, because if 2 go down, 3 still stand, and you're okay. But if you put it into one and the one goes down, well, guess what? You've lost a chunk of money there, and it'll leave such a bad taste in your mouth that you'll probably hesitate to do anything again anyway. So, think.
Yeah, I could agree. Yeah. Even though the plan A and plan B, I'm not even thinking like I got plan C, D, and E in place, So I got plan 3, 4, and 5 in place, because you never know what's on the corner, do you?
Yeah, correct. It's always a good thing to do. And this is one of the reasons. One of the reasons we are doing what we're doing is Bitcoin would not have existed. It would not have been possible if there wasn't the crisis. Now, there's some speculation about how it actually originated, and it was pre-planned, and there's all kinds of conspiracy theories going on, but somebody somewhere did think up of a digital currency a long time ago when money started being transferred electronically through wire transfer way back in the 70s. Okay, even then the idea was, well, why do we need to transfer pounds? Can't we transfer something else that represents pounds and dollars, etc.? So there's a bit of monetary history involved here. But as far as Bitcoin is concerned right now, it exists because of a crisis, and that crisis hasn't gone away. So that's why you better have a plan in place. You do not ever put so much risk into 1 or 2 things that you may have confidence in them on the basis of everything you've heard, seen, and read, but the reality is that time will tell, and by the time time tells, it may be too late. It may be too late to react. You may be unable to make quick decisions, and that is not a scenario that I personally would want to find myself in. And therefore, I have to identify, okay, I need something that is slow and steady like gold and silver. It's very gradual, slow, and it isn't very aggressive. And then at the same time, I've got Bitcoin mining that is really churning away the money. So, I've got these 2 wheels, and both are separate, independent, top of the range, sort of very high caliber, world-class companies. But I'm focusing on one platform where they're brought together. And that platform doesn't own either. You see, that's the beauty of it. It's kind of independent. It's a bridge between Argo Jerez of Switzerland, the top refiner, and Genesis Mining on the other hand. And that bridge is where I'm focusing right now.
I'm looking to meet the owners of Genesis Mining and take a trip out to out to Zurich as soon as I can to pick up my gold and silver as well. And you were looking to do the same, Prem. Is that right? Perhaps we can team up there and make a bit of a thing of it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm more of a silver saver at this point. I'm not into gold at this minute for a simple reason that the ratio favors silver. So I'm massively $1,000 at a time going into silver. Because whatever happens with Bitcoin mining, I'm earning Bitcoin mining through a bonus referral system and the incremental revenue that's coming in, and I'm also buying some on my own. But I have targets set for myself for each week of the year, how much Bitcoin mining I need to accumulate, and that's going on. But the spare cash I have, the real asset build that I'm doing is in silver right now. And yes, I would love to do that. Maybe go via Munich to Zurich or something like that. We can plan that and do some selfie videos or something. Yeah, that'll be good.
Yeah, that'll be great. Yeah, great for marketing as well. The other thing as well, we got a multi-crypto exchange coming on board. So doesn't matter how much Bitcoin or gold or silver you got, you can exchange it one for the other, can't you? You can exchange your silver into Bitcoin, your Bitcoin into gold, your gold into Bitcoin, your gold into silver.
Correct.
When is that coming on?
It is in the pipeline. It got knocked back a little bit because of the Christmas. There was some delay with the technical side of it, but it is coming in the next few weeks, I'm told. And what it's going to be is it's going to take basically something like Fuel Coin, Scott Coin, Capri Coin that are exchange listed. It's going to take those and be able to give you gold and silver instead, or you can flip them into Bitcoin or do whatever you want. So basically, it opens up all the other coin miners out there. If they knew that this exists, and if they knew that, okay, they may not want to do it as an MLM, but they would certainly like a free account, you want to be in the business of sending out messages to them to say, look, if you're doing any other coin out there, here's a link, open a free account, at least have this standby opportunity where in last minute emergency, if you ever needed to shed your existing whatever altcoin and swap it into gold and silver, we have the ability for you to do that.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that one. And Steve Lawson has said he agrees with me on probably the car situation. I think that was. He's going to invest more into the mining shortly, and we'll be building this company throughout 2017. So that's great news, Steve. Look forward to that one.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, that's good stuff. I've got loads of messages coming in here off Stephen Riley. How much do you recommend starting with? I know that's a bit of a 50-50 question. How much do you recommend starting with? Do you want to answer that one?
Can I answer that? Excuse me, Stephen Riley. I'd like to answer that. You need to, first of all, isolate. Obviously, I don't know your personal financial circumstances. It would normally take about a half an hour to 45-minute discussion for me to find out exactly what to do if I was in my wealth manager, financial advisor mode. I'm not doing that right now. So off the internet, I don't even know who you are. I don't think we've communicated before, but I can tell you this now. Set aside enough to run your entire household. Yeah, add 20% to factor in for various other things. From what your savings are, ask yourself this: how much of those savings, because clearly you must have money somewhere, right? So whatever that amount is that you have sitting around somewhere, what is it returning to you, and how much return would you like from it? Now, it's a very simple, straightforward thing. Let's say, for example, this is only an example, you had 1,000 British pound, and out of 1,000 British pound, you knew that you could get 90 to 100% return per year in Bitcoin mining. That would be very aggressive, but it is achievable and possible at current mining rates, okay? And they can change. So if you wanted to go aggressive, put all 1,000 of it in Bitcoin mining and Bob's your uncle. But if you're happy to be conservative and take the same 1,000 pounds, British pound, and happy to earn 25-30%, no more, just 25-30%, and you're satisfied with that, but you want to deploy all 1,000, then you bifurcate it. You take 25 to 30% of the 1,000 and put it into mining, and the rest put it into gold or silver, because you're getting it at wholesale price, remember. And by doing that, what you're doing is you're buying yourself an asset that also acts as an insurance in case the pound goes pop. Because if you have pounds left in your account, the 1,000 pound in your account, The financial services compensation scheme says it'll cover you for £75,000 if anything goes wrong with the banking system, which is good luck to them, but they don't have any asset fund backing it. It's just a bunch of banks holding hands singing Kumbaya. Okay, so when a knock-on effect happens, a domino effect happens, none of them have the money to compensate you. And you can wait for weeks and weeks and weeks. Where was the financial services compensation scheme when UK banks went under? People were waiting overnight, over the weekend, in queues trying to get their money out of Northern Rock. And that's just one Northern Rock, an itty-bitty little bank, and mainly built up on aggressive mortgages, nothing else. Okay, so put it in perspective. Your money is not as safe in the banking system, and this is why the FSCS is running radio adverts saying, your money is safe in the banks. Why are they doing that all of a sudden? Put on the radio in the morning and listen, on mainstream radio, whatever, a radio channel, I think it was Capital FM or Heart, I heard it. I was like, whoa, they're having to advertise. So they know the public is nervous about the banking system. You see? So your money is safer in a vault that is debt-free within the LBMA ring of integrity than it is in a bank. That's for sure. Your money is safer held in a physical asset, whether land, a semi-detached house that you can put up for rent, or gold and silver. These are assets that are safer than the entire banking system. But how much return would you like? That is where your personal choice comes in. So you take your limited amount of money that you want to put in, whatever the amount of money you want to put in, and you use a sliding scale on how aggressive you want to go. And if you want to go 100% aggressive, put all of it into mining. If you want to be conservative, put the bulk of it into metals. You choose the metal. I prefer silver, but don't get silver home delivered to the UK. You'll pay 20% VAT. Okay, when you have silver in the back office, when you're ready to take it home, flip it into gold. And when you flip it into gold, take home delivery gold. It's tax-free delivery plus VAT free to buy in the first place.
Or you could even flip it into Bitcoin as well.
Or you could. Well, I don't know if Bitcoin will be so readily available and what premium you'll end up paying at that point in time. But obviously, the idea is that when it comes to Bitcoin, have yourself a factory that produces Bitcoin instead of buying the Bitcoin itself. It's like buying an orange today. You can eat it today, you can eat it tomorrow, but you don't have the branch of a tree that produces oranges over and over, season after season. So mining is definitely better than buying Bitcoin outright. I know somebody who just went and bought a whole lot of Bitcoin, and I'm like, what if it crashes day after? What if it goes down by $200 tomorrow? What if it goes down by, let's say, just $100 tonight, right? He puts in $10,000 worth in Bitcoin. Tonight it drops 10%. He's lost 1,000. What? In a few minutes. Why would you do that? Why would you not instead spread out your risk over a period of time by being in mining instead? That's my...
No, for me, the rule of thumb is between 5 and 20% of your wealth. So if you were earning $1,000 a week, for example, an average person earns, a tradesperson, probably say £1,000 or $1,000 a week, £52,000 a year. I'd say between 5 and 20% of that, so between $50 and $200 of that £1,000 every week, put it into some form of asset, gold, silver, Bitcoin. So you got around, say, $200, 20%. Spread the $200 then between the likes of gold, silver, and Bitcoin. That's my plan,
Yeah, I mean, that suits your risk profile, Adrian, and you will probably be able to take reasonably aggressive risk if you so choose. That doesn't necessarily apply to everybody, but the rule of thumb is very simple. In this particular scenario, if you're happy to take maximum risk with 1,000, put all of it in high risk. If you want to put in 5,000, but don't want to risk all 5,000 at an aggressive rate, still put in 1,000 in the aggressive side and keep the other 4 in the conservative side. So you need to decide how much do you wish to deploy, which is otherwise, frankly, rotting in a bank, whatever your bank may be. Even if you're with Nationwide Building Society, the rate of interest is pathetic. Even in the ISA account, it is absolutely nothing. I couldn't even, my children have a few £1,000 each in their ISA, and my wife doesn't allow me to touch it, so otherwise I would. And you can't even buy a decent Christmas present for them for the interest that you earn over a year of it sitting in Nationwide. It's your choice.
That's right, yeah. And absolutely, yeah. Steve is saying, thanks a lot, Prem and Adrian. He's learned a huge amount on this call. So, yeah, thanks for that, Steve, for that comment. So that's good news. Still loads of messages coming in. I'm not sure how long you've got. Going back on a few old messages here, you mentioned something about China. Hold on a minute. Oh yeah, there was mention of a coin called Swiss coin. We don't want to get that mixed up with Swiss gold. Swiss coin, I think, is another apparent Ponzi scheme, so be careful with Swiss coin. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that one, Prem.
I am familiar with it. Swiss coin basically is listed on some of the exchanges, so it's not an unlisted coin. But at the same time, the only thing driving Swiss coin right now is basically the MLM network. So the demand supply is a function of number of members. If they can get more members, it might go up in price. But this is the whole point, altcoin trading is become lucrative for a number of people that have been involved in it for any period of time. You can get into it, you can buy one, sell the other because they keep moving up and down, and you can speculate a little bit, and you can trade it almost like a stock. The trouble with all of these coins is that they need to be backed by something solid. And yes, I appreciate that, something like Swiss coin, you can buy a lot of them for very cheap money, and they could potentially go really big, if the network expands. That is, again, playing with chance. On the other hand, we're not even debating, are we, that out of the total 17 billion market cap of cryptocurrencies outstanding and still growing, 16.5 is Bitcoin. The remaining half a billion are all the 700 other coins put together. So if it was an Olympic race, you've got gold, silver, and bronze medal to Bitcoin, and then the wooden and the copper and all the other metals also to Bitcoin, and the last finishing number 8 would be Ethereum. So if you were to put it in context, yes, on an appreciation basis, on a short-term volatility basis, Swiss coin could be something, yeah. But if it is something that has to be networked, are you sure? Are you sure you want to be in something that is wholly and entirely dependent on a bunch of networkers? Where I don't think Swiss universities would accept Swiss coin. Swiss universities do accept Bitcoin as valid tuition fees. It is already their done deal. Nobody's arguing that with you. There are people paying salaries. Overstock.com is paying some of its employees a combination of Bitcoin and gold in salary on top of the US dollars, because they want their employees to be prepared, because the numbers just don't stack up. $20 trillion debt and $1.5 quadrillion in derivatives are not sustainable much longer. I don't know when, but not much longer. Okay.
It's only a matter of time being able to tell how long all these coins last. So this is one of those things, time will tell. But another key question here, going back on ourselves, I missed this. Hassan's put a question mark in. Why does China dominate Bitcoin?
That is very, very interesting, because the Chinese currency is restricted. You will probably struggle to see anybody outside of China holding a Chinese yuan renminbi banknote in their hand. Maybe a Chinaman, but not anybody else. Now, why have they restricted their currency? Because they're not foolish. Yeah, they're the factory of the world. They're sitting, at one point, they were sitting on $2.3 trillion worth of net cash reserves earned from various things that they've been selling and exporting to other countries. Now, they don't want their currency to go through the same turmoil. Remember, China is an economy that used to constitute about 40% of the global GDP just a couple of centuries ago. Before the British Empire came along, China was the single largest GDP in the world, followed by India, which was 25%. Now, if you put it into context, they have already experienced inflated asset prices and hyperinflation when their original currency was printed in paper. And you can research this, Chinese hyperinflation Middle Ages. Google it, okay? Now, what happens is that they don't want to repeat any of that, first of all. Secondly, they want to control their currency so that no external forces can manipulate it, right? And so what are they doing is they're shoring it up by backing it with physical gold. So for all the Chinese currency in the world, they have enough gold to back it up by gold. But they're not going to tell you that. Yeah, they're not going to tell the whole world that they're doing that. This is why how much gold really China has is always a mystery to everybody, and anybody can speculate as much as they want. Who cares? You know, the fact is they are net buyers. Every year the earth throws up a fresh few 100,000 ounces of gold. They're the ones to snap it up happily as long as the prices are low, because the rest of the world hasn't got a clue that they should be getting gold also. If everybody woke up and went after gold, it would be unachievably expensive, okay, unobtainably expensive. So that's one thing. Now, having said that, if your currency, your primary currency is restricted, but you want to do cross-border trade, how would you do it? You would have to use dollars. All central currencies have to go to their home country for remittance. So if I want to send US dollars to Adrian, they have to leave my account here, go via New York, where JP Morgan Chase or a similar clearing bank will keep a track of what happens, and then come back into the United Kingdom to go to Adrian. Okay. Similarly, all British pound is cleared by Midland Bank PLC, HSBC now. MIDL GB22 is the SWIFT code. I remember from my banking days. They are the primary clearing bank for other banks who clear British pound. So if you were going to send me British pound to me, it has to come through the central clearing system. With Bitcoin, you don't need any of that. And that provides a massive solution for them. They're already setting up websites in China that accept nothing but Bitcoin, and they will deliver your groceries to your home. You can buy nearly anything using Bitcoin. They're even offering discount products just so that they can accumulate more Bitcoin. And this is why Bitcoin is an alternative solution to the people of China. The government is certainly interested in what's going on, but it is Chinese entrepreneurs that figured out what does it take to produce this Bitcoin. Although it's a Japanese, supposedly a Japanese brainchild of a Japanese person, the Chinese were the first ones to figure out, oh, this looks very, very good indeed. Let's have more of this. And that's how they started investing in it. The more they invested, the more they benefited, the more it became acceptable, the more it became expansive. They are not going to sit back and watch it vanish after spending hundreds of millions of dollars. So therefore, it is China and the people of China and the sheer volume that is going to have to do something to maintain its worth. Now, there are some other people talking, various kind of conspiracies, and some experts talking about some concerns about the blockchain, which is true. There are some concerns about the blockchain. It can freeze up, seize up. There are issues, things can be hacked, and there are issues around security, etc., etc. But that's exactly why a lot of the serious money is going into developing this particular business. Even if China dominates all of it, who cares? Because what's the point in China dominating all of it and keeping all the Bitcoins to themselves? They need the Bitcoins to be able to trade with you. So tomorrow when you have to buy a made in China product at made in China prices without paying your local taxes, fees, or whatever, and you just want to pay for it and have it delivered and pay the taxes separately when they arrive, you can pay by Bitcoin. But for you to be able to pay by Bitcoin, China has to let you have the Bitcoin in the first place. So it needs to be a smooth economy where everybody benefits. And this is why it is China that jumps on the bandwagon, primarily because it's their own home currency is restricted and very limited in how it can move. I hope that explains.
Yeah, that's a great answer. Thanks for that. Prem, I got one more question. Well, lots of questions, but we have to call it a day soon. This was supposed to be a build-up for tonight's hangout, which is 9 o'clock. Don't forget. So I got a question here from Dean Pedley. Adrian, do I need to just how much terahash? Hold on a minute. Is 15 terahash the most I can buy in one transaction?
At the moment, yes, 15 is the most you can buy with us. But the moment you've bought it, you can go back and buy more. The reason it is limited is because until recently, even Genesis directly were only limiting it to 15 terahash at exactly the same price that you would be buying with us. So it's just the way the system got set up when it got set up. You can always buy more later on if you wanted. If you're considering buying as much terahash as that, just make sure your KYC is in order and everything is set up, and make a good choice of which wallet you want it in. If you want it in Zappo, I hear a lot of people recommend it because they can withdraw it from an ATM. Zappo is the way to go.
And the great thing is, what I love about this, Prem, You can buy a Bitcoin mining package. You can buy a gold and silver affiliate package, and you can actually buy that using Bitcoin. You can actually buy it using a credit or debit card. You can use it. You can buy that using PayPal or a bank transfer. So it's great to see the likes of PayPal wanting to work with Swiss Gold.
Well, the PayPal deal has been around ever since the beginning. We've never had any issues with PayPal. We worked with PayPal smoothly. Whatever cash I choose to withdraw, I withdraw in PayPal. It works for me. So it's absolutely brilliant because the company is properly, legitimately set up. Remember, you cannot be a gold and silver distributor. It's one of the toughest industries to get into, which is why a lot of these startups tend to fail. There's a brand new startup called Grand Empire Capital. I don't see it succeeding at all. It's kind of, there's no noise about it. It's died down because nobody's signing up. It's just not a doable deal. And even if they did get it off the ground, that company will wake up and smell the roses when they have to actually make a gold delivery physically into a country. You need a proper integral setup that supports it. And we have that. PayPal know it. And we've been doing perfectly good business for 8 years straight. Now coming into the 9th year, so it's looking good.
Looking really good. And the fact that they got credit card, as you're saying, credit debit cards. How many online companies, how many online MLM style programs actually accept Visa debit card to get involved? There's not many of them, is there?
No, that's perfectly fine to accept. I mean, I haven't switched over yet, but my monthly autoship is still being paid through my debit card, and I'm happy with that. I have another account where I've upgraded, so the package is all included in that, and that's the platinum package, which is $5,000. It returns about 30%. Actually, it's returning now 35% on the 5,000 original VIP, platinum level that I'd gone into, and yeah. Credit cards accepted, and the Bitcoin compounding is a little bit complicated right now. We're trying to add a little module where you can bring Bitcoin back from your Zappo into the system. Right now, it only sheds Bitcoin in your direction, and you gather it at your end. We want to add this one module where you can circulate the Bitcoin back into the system and do with it whatever you want. It's not ready yet, so. Right now, credit, debit, to begin with. If you're setting up a brand new account, it's only credit and debit card right now. Once you have your KYC approved, you can get your PayPal set up afterwards. Okay?
Yeah, that's brilliant. Yeah. Another key question from Steve Lawson. Do you think that if China gets into a trade war with the USA, that Bitcoin would go up in value or down?
Okay, so for a start, a trade war seems like a very, very highly unlikely scenario, okay? Because China needs the West to keep doing what the West does, which is to borrow money and spend. China needs that to keep going. Remember, China does not export to Africa. China takes the West's money earnings and goes and buys the assets of Africa, which is the minefields and the forests and land, and they've been buying chunks of all of Latin America and Africa because of the money gifted to them by the West. So a trade war is a very highly unlikely scenario. The only reason China would go to war is, as I mentioned in my other videos, is because of the Middle East situation and whom they end up facing. Now, China is a relatively neutral player. They're not taking necessarily any sides between the Israelis or the Arabs. They're not taking any of those political sides, and they try to stay away from all that. And many countries, frankly, want to stay away from all that. But the thing is that inevitably, I believe Turkey is a catalyst that brings in Russia into the scenario. And when Russia comes on with boots on the ground to defend Assad, what Russia ends up doing is defending a combination of Iran and Syria. which is the Shia element of Islam. Now, I can go into a lot more detail about this. This is all part of my study of some subject called eschatology. But what happens there is, Turkey is the catalyst that drives Russia south into a confrontation, and you've got Israel pretty much on its own, and the US, whether you believe it or not, is actually on the Saudi side. Saudi and the US have been in bed for ages. So, that thing may trigger an oil instability, and it's the oil instability, the thirst for oil, that drives China to do something drastic. A trade war is not likely to happen. They will look to pacify that, because China isn't going to suddenly open up India as a major market, although it is one of its major trade partners. But remember, these are trade partners. It's a give and take situation. It's not like everything is sucked out by China alone. China actually spends more on Indian services than India spends on Chinese goods. So the surplus is in India's favor. But that doesn't change the fact that the goods produced in China, its main consumption is still the West. So the Chinese economy is not going to get into a trade war. Anyway, if a conflict scenario happens, whatever happens, if there is chaos/instability, Bitcoin will only go up, not down. Not because China owns a bulk of it doesn't mean it's going to go down because somehow Americans are dumping it or anything. No, in fact, it's a neutral thing. It's a nation neutral thing. It just happens that the rigs and the mining capacity ownership is with China at the moment. And this is one of the reasons why China is specifically dominant in this Bitcoin space. But that doesn't mean China owns all the Bitcoins. In fact, there are hedge funds and mutual funds being set up here in the West, in New York, in Wall Street, that want to own and hold Bitcoin within them, So, guys, Adrian, if it's okay, my son needs the toilet. So
yeah, we're going to call it a day.
I'm going to excuse myself, yeah?
Yeah, worst scenario, guys, just get a free account set up and just start to save. Do something rather than nothing. Set up, even if it's little as $30 a month, do something rather than nothing. That's the key. So we leave it there, but we're going to be on live tonight, okay? And thanks, Prem. We'll be live again on the same link, live on Facebook and YouTube, 9 o'clock tonight. Okay, thanks a lot, Prem. And thanks, everyone. But don't forget, Facebook Live and YouTube Live tonight at 9 o'clock, 9 p.m. I'm going to do this every single week, every Tuesday, either 1 or 2 o'clock Tuesday afternoon. And then as a bit of a build-up, they should be a lot shorter this afternoon, but there you go. This is our first one. So it's going to be a build-up on a Tuesday afternoon, 1 o'clock, and then a hangout every Tuesday at 9 o'clock. And cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, precious metals, gold and silver is going to be the subject mainly for those 2 hangouts, okay? And obviously the regulations, the legislation behind everything. So thanks everyone for attending. I'm completely burnt out, so I'm going to take a bit of a rest. I'm going to hit the gym now, and I'll be back later on tonight at 9 o'clock. Thanks everyone. Have a great afternoon. Cheers, bye.